Hey Mentees, this is Rob64, coming at you with another edition of Near Mint Condition Gaming Edition. Lots going on with the coronavirus, racial injustice. It's important for us to be diligent, stand firm, not be silent, but it's also important to rest, play. And what better way to play than video games? So, as a small distraction from the craziness of the world, I'm going to talk about the top 10 games that I've been playing while under quarantine. And as a little bonus, I'm also going to talk about 5 games that you should already be playing as well. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, believe it or not, I actually got a chance to complete this game, and it's fantastic. If you have been a fan of Final Fantasy, and who hasn't for the past 23 years, this game is absolutely worth your dollar. Go out and try and track this down. The graphics are beautiful, the music is remade, the story is mostly based on Final Fantasy VII, I'd say 90% based on Final Fantasy VII, a couple little detours that they do, but it's really well done. Lots of areas are fleshed out, the characters are awesome and gorgeous, and the environments, and the battle system, which I wasn't sure if I would like, because I'm not that much of a fan of the battle system in Final Fantasy 15, it's fine. This battle system is great, it's a lot of fun. So don't worry about going into classic easy mode, like use the default settings, and I had a great time with this. And after you beat the game, spoilers, there's more things for you to do, so I encourage you to go beat the game and then go do more cool stuff. And this is the special edition that comes with like art and soundtracks and things like that. So Final Fantasy VII, surely if you're watching Near Mint Condition, you've already picked this up. If you haven't, don't be afraid, check it out. Half-Life Alyx. If you have an Oculus Quest, they come in and out of stock at Best Buy and Amazon, but for $3.99, which is what this one is, this is the 64 gigabyte model, you can get about $20 cable. The official Oculus cable is $80, but it's 16 feet long, and it has fiber optic, which is why it can go that distance. USB 3 typically tops out at 10 feet. But if you can get the cheaper, shorter option, you can maybe move your computer a little way, you can get by with about $20. All you need is an angled cable, or an angled for the connector here and the cable. But the point is, you can get Oculus Link, and with Oculus Link you can play any desktop-worthy VR experience, and that includes Half-Life Alyx. And if Half-Life Alyx wasn't in VR, it would be just a fantastic game. But the fact that it's in VR makes it even better. This game has actually spoiled me for all other VR experiences. It's like it took me 42 hours to get all the way through it, and it's just phenomenal. Scary, moody, great voice acting, phenomenal game. Tony Todd doing his performance thing. It's just wonderful, wonderful. So after playing it, like I did very few VR games, I'm like, well, y'all need to put out a 40-hour VR game, or you're not doing justice to the medium. So track down an Oculus Quest. It is possible. They're coming more and more in stock. And pick yourself up a cable and check out Half-Life Alyx. Next up, I'm a big fan of Resident Evil. So here we have Resident Evil 3. So this has been a hoot to play. This has our dear friend Jill Valentine. Great graphics. Nemesis is such a freaking jerk. Whatever. This is done in the same RE engine that's used in Resident Evil 7, which is one of the best Resident Evil games ever, and last year's Resident Evil 2, and I can't believe they got Resident Evil 3 out this quickly. But it's a great game, and it comes with a multiplayer experience called Resident Evil Resistance, which is also a lot of fun. So check this out. If you haven't already, Resident Evil 3, and play in the dark. Speaking of games that are scary, Doom Eternal. It doesn't say Eternal on here, but this is Doom Eternal. This is the metal box from Best Buy. And I love Doom 2016. Doom 2016 was a fantastic game that went back to the core of what I liked Doom. Doom 3 was kind of like one or two monsters because of the awesome technology, but they couldn't bring like a ton of monsters coming out to get you. Doom 2016 does that, and then this new edition, Doom Eternal, does the same thing with tons of monsters and also adds a bunch of platforming elements and things like that. It is a lot of fun. I've had a blast playing this. Great music, a little bit of controversy with the music and the soundtrack, but great music, fun gameplay, it's tough. There's only one or two enemies that are like, okay, really? But otherwise, fantastic game. I absolutely love this. And if you were fortunate enough to pick up the collector's edition, you can put the helmet on your cat or your baby. I don't have a box for this either, but I've also, you need to pick up Streets of Rage 4. See, there's a 4 right here. Streets of Rage 4 is on modern platforms. I've been playing it on the Switch. It has local 2-player and 4-player multiplayer. I might have it backwards. But anyway, it's a remake of Streets of Rage. And it's done by the same folks who did Wonder Boy and Dragon's Trap. I think that's Lizard Q Games, and it's fantastic. Phenomenal game. You get all your characters, Axel, Blaze, and a couple of new ones, and you go through beat 'em up levels. The art style is similar to Dragon's Trap, and great soundtrack. The physics when you punch someone in the face feels good, and there's also lots of cool hidden elements from these previous games that are in the game as well. So it's right now on the eShop and on PlayStation and Xbox. Check it out, Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage 4, and this is where I talk about my 10 retro games. We're going to transition to that. Playing Streets of Rage 4, let me go back and play Streets of Rage 1 and 2. So I love Streets of Rage 2. This game, this Babbage's sticker, Babbage's America's software headquarters. This thing says it costs $69. And now, I will say this was one of the first, not the first, but one of the first 16 megabit games when it came out. So it's entirely possible that it cost $69.99. But Streets of Rage 1 and 2, I love the heck out of those games. And playing Streets of Rage 4 let me get into this again, too. Streets of Rage 3, the American version, and with the music and things like that, not much is into. I preferred Bare Knuckle without the censorship and things like that, Bare Knuckle 3, but still, this is my jam right here, Streets of Rage 2, until Streets of Rage 4 came out. With all of those modern games, as I said with Streets of Rage, I wanted to play something retro, go back. So this made me pick up Final Fantasy VII. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake takes place up into the collapse, or the walking out of Midgar. So basically, Disc 1 and just almost at the end of Disc 1 for this game. So to check out the authenticity, it's like, alright, I just played Remake. I want to go ahead and play this one and see how close the story is. Well, turns out, it is really freaking close. There's lots of cool scenes like Tifa at the well, and how the intro goes, jumping off the train, and a lot of little nuggets that are in this that the remake did and did very well. Now, obviously, Sephiroth doesn't show up in this until much later, but some of the flashbacks and things in Remake that you get early to get you intrigued with that character happen. But regardless, it makes me appreciate Final Fantasy VII Remake that much more, and this game how it's still fun to play after all these years. I was playing this for the kids to show them basically, hey girls, now this game came out 23 years ago. They were hooked. They loved watching this. And then when we get to the big one, like, hey, don't you all think this looks better? It took a couple hours to get through to the end of Midgar. And they were like, yeah, it does look better. Mission accomplished. Super Mario 3D World. This is one of my favorite Mario games. The music is phenomenal. Gameplay is great. It's overhead-ish. Up to 4 people can play at the same time. And this is where you get your cat Mario doing his cat thing. And it's so much fun. And it's even more fun once you have 4 people playing simultaneously. Now, again, my children haven't been playing video games as long as me, so sometimes they need a little bit of help so I can pick them up and throw them around. Or sometimes I inadvertently jump into a hole which causes them to lose, and they yell at me like, Dad, you've been playing this game for years, why'd you lose? Sorry. I'm holding us down. But as a whole, and also at the end of each stage, you tally up your points, and you kind of have to be careful and gentle with when you win or lose. But anyway, Super Mario 3D World is a fantastic game to this day. This came out in 2013, I believe. So I believe, and we've talked about this on a previous episode, that Nintendo is going to do some sort of Mario anniversary commemorative thing, and I hope to goodness, because I have been begging for this game for the Switch 4 years, literally 4 years, so I can take my Wii U and put it up in the archive, because the baby and the children love to play in it. They've accidentally almost formatted it like several times, so like, please put it on the Switch so I can take the Wii U and put it away. That's what I want to do. This is the only game that we still play on the Wii U. Everything else has already come up with the Switch. FE Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Mario Maker and everything else. It's all on the Switch. This is the last thing. Mario Kart, please, Super Smash Bros., please put this on the Switch and make it happen this June, July. Just please. Thank you very much. And we'll deal with them having to start over because we're at the very end, and they'll start over, I hope. Also, speaking of games to play that are more cooperative, more fun for the kids, Most of the world has been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. We have not. We have been playing Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS. Because I'm a bad parent, I gave them 2DSs. One of them has a Mario 2DS and one of them has a Zelda 2DS, of course. So rather than go through the Switch, because the Switch version has one island and everyone would have to share, and I don't know if you know people, that's not really going to be fun to share my island with people that are going to do random things and not know how to play the game. So forget all that. We all just have copies of Animal Crossing, and everyone in the house is playing this, and we're all having a blast going to each other's towns and trading things and paying off houses, and some people getting upset that their house is getting paid off before others. But it's been a lot of fun playing Animal Crossing New Leaf. So this game is just as great as New Horizon. Obviously, there's a couple of new features that are different between the two, but it holds up quite well. So if you have a 2DS sitting around somewhere, a 3DS, and you want to get into Animal Crossing, this is a great way to do that. It's so much fun, and it's quite a time suck. Now, another game, my children found this. I don't know how they found this. I don't know. Maybe they saw me play it. Maybe they saw, I don't know. But the children have been playing Saturn Bomberman. Okay, they actually have been playing Super Bomberman R, but that's what they've been playing. But they've also been playing Saturn Bomberman 2 because they don't like necessarily the multiplayer Bomberman that all of our homies play when we get together for Video Game Armageddon, where we smash each other to bits. No, they want to play co-op, and there is a co-op campaign in these games. So they have been playing the snot out of Saturn Bomberman and Bomberman R. I've been super proud. And if you have like a Neo Geo and you are emulation of other things like that, Neo Bomberman 2, the same thing. So yeah, if you want some fun, 2-player co-op, you don't want to blow each other to bits, check out Saturn Bomberman and Bomberman R for the Switch and other consoles too. That's a lot of fun. If you don't know what Bomberman is, where have you been? But you're this dude, and you blow up blocks or each other up. I like the Saturn version myself because there's up to 10 people can play at the same time. But on the Switch, I think 8 people can play. You use the Joy-Cons on the side. Great fun. So yeah, cooperative gameplay. Saturn Bomberman. Good job, kids. Now, after playing Final Fantasy VII, I still was in that RPG mood. It's like, man, what RPG can I play in addition to Final Fantasy VII? That scratch that itch. I've already been through Dragon Quest XI, and I've talked about how Dragon Quest XI is the best RPG in 20 years. And if you haven't played this, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Pick it up. On the PlayStation 4, it's really cheap. It's usually like $20. On the Switch, the cheapest I've seen is $50, but there's a bunch of extra content, music, and it has the 2D mode that was exclusive to the 3DS in Japan that we never got. So the definitive version of this game is, in fact, it's called Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Aleutian Age Definitive Edition. So this is the one that you should get. But if you can only get the PlayStation 4 version, it's fine. It's great. It's wonderful. Play it. But after playing this, like, alright, I need to play another RPG. So I decided to give the English translation of Dragon Quest V a shot. And I am so glad I did. If you go to Japan and ask people what their favorite Dragon Quest game is, usually they're going to say 5 or 3. And I see why now. Like, I've never played all the way through 5. And I understand the story is phenomenal. When we were in Japan last year, the movie Dragon Quest Your Story film had just come out. Like, literally, like, the day or two before we left. And I couldn't watch it because movie theaters don't have subtitles. But, and I didn't know the story exactly how this all went. But it's ingrained in Japanese pop culture about Bianca and Nora and the hero and all the adventures that these guys go through. And once you play this game and see the story, it's like, I understand. It's one of the best stories I've ever seen in a RPG. It's wonderful. I laughed, I cried, I got mad. And there's also super monsters toward the end of the game. So after you beat the game, there's more fun things for you to do. It's just a blast. And the English translation was really good. And you don't have to, if you don't have the Japanese card or a flash card or anything like that, Dragon Quest V is also on the DS, and it's fabulous, fantastic, great English dub on this. So this is another way to play this game. So yeah, I understand now why Dragon Quest V, Hands of the Heavenly Bride, is so loved and adored in native Japan. The story, again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to spoil anything about the story, because I didn't know. But it was awesome. It almost makes me cry just thinking about it. And it's so good, I might go to Dragon Quest VI next. We'll see. I don't know. we'll see what game I have time to play next before The Last of Us Part 2 comes out and Ghost of Tsushima is coming out. The Messenger. I've talked about this game a bunch of times before too, but when it comes to like retro style games, like this isn't necessarily a retro game. I'm kind of cheating, but the style is very Ninja Gaiden / Metroid, Super Metroid-esque / Metroidvania. Wonderful game. Ninja gains special abilities, and without spoiling, as you play the game, it starts out with an 8-bit graphical and musical style, and then as it keeps going, things occur and it switches to a 16-bit graphic musical style. It's wonderful. So by all means, check this out. This is Sabotage Studios up in Canada. These are great guys. And if you haven't checked out their Kickstarter for Sea Stars, this is an RPG based not necessarily on this specific game timeline, but in the universe of this as a whole. I can't wait for that. So like I said, I've been on an RPG kick. And make sure you check out their Kickstarter. Make sure you support these guys. They're a great group of people. And I am looking forward to a modern RPG with roots back to classic gameplay, like The Messenger. So check this out. If you love Ninja Gaiden, you love The Messenger. I hate to say things like that, but it's absolutely true. Now, retro games. There are some games. I have a bunch of systems and classic systems and things like that, but I don't have everything yet. So in Japan, there's a computer system called the Sharp X68000, and on it were a number of fantastic arcade ports. Capcom actually developed some of their games, Strider, Final Fight, Daimakamura or Ghouls and Ghosts on it, so those ports are perfect. Konami also did a bunch of really great games too. There's a Nemesis 90 Kai, which is the ultimate version of Nemesis 2 on the MSX, and the game that I've been playing on this is a Kumajo Dracula. So this is not an X68000. This is a Raspberry Pi in an X68000 case. But this little case is really pretty, and it looks just like with the system. But it is a Kumajo Dracula is a remake of the original Castlevania that came out on the NES and the Famicom, except with obviously 16-bit graphics and PC technology and amazing music. And it's fantastic. It's great. I have a controller that I've been playing. This is my Saturn controller, USB Saturn controller. And the game is wonderful. And in addition to the music being really dope, if you have a Roland City Sound Canvas, you can play MIDI versions of the music. And the MIDI version of the music is so good, it's worth spending hundreds of dollars on all this retro equipment to be able to play it in this manner. Now, obviously, emulators exist. There's one called XM6G that you can play on a PC and plug in. If you happen to have a sound canvas, you can plug into that and use a real controller, etc., etc. But a Kumajo Dracula, I want to get that right. A Kumajo Dracula for the Sharp X68000. It's a wonderful game. And if you have a PlayStation 1, you can pick up Castlevania Chronicles, and it is released on that too as well. And there's a hidden menu where you can get the awesome music too. So check that out. I watched a documentary on Third Strike. The documentary is called Jazzy NYC, and it talks about the Third Strike scene in America and versus Japanese. And that got me wanting to play Third Strike. And the easy way to play Third Strike is Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. And about 4 of these games. So this is Street Fighter 2, Champion Edition, Hyper Fighting, Super Turbo, Alpha, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Third Strike, Double Impact, and the original New Generation. So the later versions of all these 4 games are playable online. And Third Strike is fantastic. And I've wanted to play an authentic version of Third Strike for a long time, where I even was able to find some arcade hardware to be able to play Third Strike. And this game, people talk about it's the best incarnation of a Street Fighter game with the parry system and things like that, and the characters and things like that, and the animation. Like, I think it is. I absolutely love Third Strike. When it came out originally, I never really played the arcade, but I played it on the Dreamcast, and my brother and I absolutely love this game, but we didn't get into it as much as we did with the previous versions. Like, for example, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. This is probably my game. Watch out, cheating M. Bison players. I'm ready for you. Champion Edition is probably the one that my brother and I played the most. Oh, no, actually, that would be Street Fighter 02 Alpha. That's probably the one we played the most. But we love Third Strike. And with this resurgence of Third Strike, that's been a lot of fun. And having these things conveniently able to play has been awesome. So, arcade games we've been playing. Third Strike. And who can talk about, I can't talk about arcade games without my favorite arcade, well, one of my favorite arcade games, almost my favorite arcade game, Donkey Kong. Now, this is a old ColecoVision tabletop. There are numerous ways in order to play Donkey Kong authentically. You can get Donkey Kong 64 on the N64, that's one way to do it. On the Switch, you can download the Donkey Kong Arcade Archive, and that is the official, finally, because the code has been held up in legal limbo for years. You can actually get the real, authentic version of Donkey Kong on the Switch, and that's awesome, because the NES versions and other versions weren't quite, they were reprogrammed. They were not the original ROM and code. So that's been good to get a chance of those. You can also do emulation. If you're a more tech-savvy person, I highly recommend the Myst project. This is an FPGA, field grid array processing. So this actually simulates the hardware rather than emulating the software and the ROM. So this will give you the most authentic version of Donkey Kong, but it's a little bit gray area. So I recommend playing it on the Switch. But Donkey Kong is one of those games where, if you've ever seen the documentary King of Kong, it's a fantastic game, hard as nails. And I bought a book called How to Win at Donkey Kong, which teaches you how to win at Donkey Kong. You can probably find PDFs and things like that online. And there's the fourth loop, third elevator, where if you can get past the spring, you're on the way. So there is a percentage of the time, half the time, a third of the time, I can get past those, and if I do, my score is in the hundreds of thousands. I had a record at the local arcade here, but it was quickly decimated by someone who got 3 times that. So anytime you think you're good at a video game, check it out. There's someone better. But I keep trying, and why do I keep trying? Because every time I play, I learn something. I learned jumping barrels, avoiding fireballs. It's just so much fun playing Donkey Kong after all this years. All this time. This game came out in 1980s. It's 40 years old. It is in near mint condition. And it's just as fun to play as when I was a little kid at 6. Donkey Kong was the first game I played in my uncle's house. I think I was 4 years old playing on the 2600. I had the joystick backwards. So to this day, it still warms my heart to play Donkey Kong. Even though sometimes Donkey Kong is kind of a jerk and throws barrels randomly. Not that long ago, May 20th, 21st, I believe, was the 40th anniversary of Pac-Man. The creator, Toru Iwatani, celebrated Pac-Man. Now this is a Pac-Man, this is not like the tabletop like what I had when I was a kid. Although I do have the Pac-Man of the tabletop when I was a kid. There you go. This is what I played as a kid. And this is what my kids play Pac-Man on today. I think they have a little bit more authentic experience. But this is made of real wood. The joystick feels great. Stickers are authentic. The screen, there's a battery in it. So it comes on. It has a light-up marquee. Numbskull is the developer. And you can see coin slots on this. There's the boot up because it is, in fact, the actual ROM. Put in some money. You're playing the game. Hotness. We'll turn that off. But this has been a hit at the house. On the 40th anniversary of Pac-Man, we sat down and we all had a Pac-Man tournament, the kids and the adults. And this is what the kids played on, the adults played on the big versions that are on like various collections on the consoles and things like that. We had a ball playing Pac-Man. Don't forget the area you can pause right there, where you hang out there. My favorite arcade game though, is Miss Pac-Man. This is my game. So we also played a whole bunch of Miss Pac-Man as well. And same thing here. This is real wood parts. There's you can customize dip switches and menus. Numbskull did a really good job on this. And there it is, booting up, and we have Miss Pac-Man. I wish, and if anyone out there has any access to Numbskull, folks, tell them to add the speed-up cheat. There she goes, all slow and stuff, but it's fine. What I'm used to is what I played as a kid. Because Pac-Man was a game that I played every Saturday. We would go roller skating, and if I roller skated the entire 4 hours, I put in my quarter, I could play one game of Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. But I'm used to, at the arcade, Kentucky Arcade on campus, I'm used to a Pac-Man cabinet that had been modded for Miss Pac-Man with the speed hack. Like, that is permanently stuck in my head. So, Pac-Man in the anniversary really had, like, very profound, like, effect on, like, this is probably the reason I got into gaming. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, like, Mario, Zelda, these are the games. These are the cornerstone games. that to this day I still play, and it's still a lot of fun. So if you have a chance to, if you haven't had a chance to play Pac-Man, there's a Pac-Man 256 version. There's a Champion Edition. That's for just, there are various ways to play Pac-Man for the 40th anniversary. So that's it. That's the games that I've been playing while under quarantine. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope that I inspired you to play some sort of game that you may or may not have thought about in a while. Stuff like Bomberman. Go check out Bomberman. That's so much fun. So again, we have a Redbubble. We have a Patreon. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Smash that notification icon so you get alerts the second we drop new content. And remember, gamers who play together, stay together. So love one another, keep gaming, wash your hands, be safe, and we love you all. Thank you very much. Peace. While under lockdown, it's important to stay buff. That's why I've been playing Ring Fit Adventure with like this. My wife is level 100.